Anybody ever heard of Sirius A? This star in the sky? Nobody? This star was actually seen by Europeans in 1862. Okay, from the picture you can see it's a white dwarf star. That's a star that's pretty much a star that's very massive. You can scoop a teaspoon of it, it's going to weigh like 20 tons. Just a teaspoon of the material because it's so packed together. Anybody heard of the Dogon people? These people have baffled Western society, confused them. Now we see all the time when you start going back to the continent that they call Africa, and you start getting into what the people on that continent know, then it's all of a sudden the aliens came in and meticulously placed all of this technology here. Am I right? Or that was early contact with Western civilization that we cannot find that actually is responsible for this technology being here. It's never a case of these folks are very intelligent. As a matter of fact, they may be more advanced than us here on this continent. The Dogon people are from Mali. They're believed to have been the descendants or part of the descendants that descended out of Egypt, which was once called Kemet. That was the original name of it. Some of you in the room know about that. Kemet means black nation. So they had a calendar that was based on several celestial events, Venus, this star here, and they knew, according to the Western society, the explorers, the anthropologists that visited these people, they knew that the planets orbited the sun way before Western society, way before Christopher Columbus. They knew. Now, these people here, just so you guys who may or may not know, these are actually people from Kemet or from Egypt. We just talked a moment about that, and sometimes we just said that Europeans will come over and they will say, well, these people in Egypt, they had to be Caucasian. There's no way they could have been black. Okay? Of course, here's evidence. Here is a pharaoh with dreadlocks. There's the faces, these paintings, these sculptures, these are real artifacts. So, in case there's any more doubt, we can actually visit Mendel's law. Anybody heard of Mendel's law? It is the genetic code. I want you guys to understand that. You have dominant genes and recessive genes. Dominant genes are brown, black, eyes, hair, skin. Recessive, green, blue, white, blonde, red. All of these recessive genes are not possible without the dominant genes being the genes that preceded the recessive. So what I'm saying is you can only go one way on the scale. You can only go from dominant to recessive. You cannot go from recessive to dominant. And the people who carry the dominant genes are the people who are in this room right now. You're part of the dominant gene group. That's why when you have a baby with somebody who has recessive genes, it comes out looking more of the dominant persuasion, right? So when I show these with confidence. We know that was technology. We know who these people look like. We talked about Benjamin Banneker. Tyree said he invented a clock. Well, that was one invention. He carved a clock out of wood based on a watch that he observed. He looked at the watch, he went back home, and he carved it out of wood, the gears and stuff like that, and he put it together, and it worked. They were baffled. Wow, how did you take a observation and turn it into a replica of a clock to scale? So it was a small clock. He actually made it a wooden standing clock. But that was nothing. He decided to take it further. Next slide, please. He invented an almanac. This almanac predicted solar eclipses. It predicted weather. It predicted celestial movement. He sent this all the way over to Europe and to everybody here in the Western world. But when we arrived here, there was no slave schools. Now where they? You ever heard of a slave university? You ever heard of a university that taught slaves how to be agriculture scientists or engineers? You ever heard of a slave school that landed that they built in Virginia to send them to learn the trades of farming and agriculture and building before they actually got out in the field and did it? Anybody? Raise your hand if you've heard of one. I've never heard of one. This is what I want you guys to look at. And for anybody who doubts it or questions it, or if you're even curious about it, it's in a history that's been hidden from us purposely. Because right now we're starting over at zero. There's 0 engineers out there virtually. Well, otherwise we wouldn't have a NESB. Now this is relevant because this is the part where we say from pyramids to plantations to corporations. What I'm demonstrating is that we arrived here as scientists and engineers.